am the Lord, your healer. Says his word, I am the God that healeth thee. I am the Lord, your healer. And I send my word, and I heal your disease. I am the Lord, your healer.
Wait a minute. Okay, sound down.
You sent your word, and you healed my disease. You are the Lord, my healer.
Yeah. Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. Good evening and welcome to another edition of Nature's Way here on Waves 96.3 FM. I am Debbie Pryce, your host, and I'm happy to be here with you this evening to share with you some wonderful, vital information as we go along. God has been gracious unto us, and we are grateful for His mercies and His love towards us. We are grateful for all that He does on our behalf. And so that gives us peace and that, joy in our hearts that God is always with us. Now, He has promised in His words that He will never leave us nor forsake us. And it is just for us to remember those promises, keep them dear to our hearts, and remember that He loves us with an everlasting love. Before we get into our program this evening, I'd just like to ask you to bow your heads with me while I pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, we are grateful for the mercies that you have extended to us. We are grateful for your love. We are grateful for your tender mercy and your loving kindness. We are grateful for all that you do on our behalf and the provisions you have made for us. We thank you for your Son's shed blood on Calvary's cross. We are grateful for this health message that you have given to us, dear Lord. Help us to be obedient to your words so that we can be healthy individuals and to be obedient and share you with others so that when you come, we will all go home with you. Bless us now and touch everything in studio and be with your listeners and viewers. Bless them, visit their homes, give them the courage, the strength that they need to overcome the wiles of the devil. Thank you for all you do on our behalf, and let your will be done in our lives. We pray and say thanks. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. So, just to remind you that the materials that are shared on this program is intended to be information to you, not we are not medical professionals, so we don't purport to be medical practitioners. We give you the information, we share the information with you because it is vital information, not just for our survival, but for our spiritual growth as well. We give no guarantee of the use of the information that is shared on this program. We are not making specific diagnosis of any illnesses of our listeners and our viewers. What we do is share the information simply because we care. And this is general information. This is not information that is just pulled out of thin air, or it is not our opinion. It is information that you can research and you can even speak to um, your medical doctor about it, and he'll give you these information. So these materials that are contained in this presentation is informative in nature, and that is what we do, give you the information so you can use them to live a healthier, wholesome life. And we not just give you the physical part of it. It's a wholesome information. So we also share the spiritual side as well with you. You know, God has been so wonderful to us. He has given us words of encouragement for every situation. And this is why here on Nature's Way, after we have finished one particular area of concern, and we share the remedies and so on with you, we always give you some words of encouragement that you can use these words and for comfort. And let us remember that in the 8 laws of health, one of the major thing is the trust in God. And when you trust in God and you have that faith and confidence in Him, all things will work in for your good. So let us just remember, strength of character consists of two things: power of the will and power of self control. Many youth mistake strong, uncontrolled passion for strength of character. And not just youth, adults do it too. But the truth is that he who is who is mastered by his passions is a weak man. The real greatness and nobility of the man is measured by his powers to subdue his feelings, not by the power of his feelings to subdue him. All right? So when we surrender our wills to God, we will have power. He will have that control over us so that the things that we do will be a means of glorifying Him. Remember that whatever we do, we should glorify God. So our discussion is we're going to be continuing with poisons, and we're going to be looking at some allergies as well that can come from these, like um, poisons that affect our bodies. We have looked at a few um, topics last week. We look at some bites, and we look at mice and lice and bed bugs and chiggers and so on. We're going to be continuing now with some more poisons from insects and some animals, and then we'll see what we can do to treat with these situations, because God has made provision in every aspect of our lives. You know, sin causes a lot of things, and sin is what causes us to be harmed by these insects and animals. And therefore, God has put in place remedies, natural remedies that we can use to, treat with these situations. When we go in their habitat, they feel as if they have to defend themselves. And so, this is one of the reasons we recognize that, we are bitten by these things because they feel as if they have to protect their habitat. And all of this is caused by sin. So, remember now that I always begin with us having a healthy lifestyle. And to start your healthy lifestyle, you need to focus on eating the right things. You need to focus on eating a balanced diet with plenty of fruits and vegetables, regular exercise, and getting enough sleep, staying hydrated by drinking not juices nor those ready made sodas and drink out there, but by drinking water. And another major thing is by managing stress and limiting the amount of processed foods and sugar that we intake. And also considering factors like alcohol consumption and smoking and so on, because these are the lifestyles that cause us to have some of these diseases. Essentially, what you need to do is prioritize a nutritious diet, physical activity, and mental well being. All of these are important to start a healthy lifestyle, and you'll be well on your way. The major part though, and you know that once I am on, this is what I'm going to stress on, your diet. It is very important. All right, so make sure you eat the variety of fruits and vegetables, and you choose the whole grains over refined carbohydrates, and limit the processed foods and added sugars. All right, you need to opt for a healthy diet. Okay, and another thing, physical activity is very important as well. All right, and at least 30 minutes per day, you can do some simple exercises, some simple stretches, and some simple just stretch your limbs and move about. In even if you're at a confined space, you can still do some exercises. You don't have to do anything very rigorous or anything strenuous. You just do some simple exercises so that your muscles can be strengthened, and make sure you get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep each day, and make sure you try your very best to go to bed at a particular time at night so that your body can get used to this and you can get the adequate sleep. So you need to establish a constant sleep schedule. Sometimes you may go outside of the schedule, that's okay, but as long as you don't do it all the time. All right? And drink plenty of water throughout the day. Okay, so these are your tips to start a healthy lifestyle. And pray. Have a devotional life. Make sure you read your Bibles, read some, the scriptures so that God can give you the strength that you need to do these things. All right, so we're going to be looking at poisons, as I said. And remember, I told you last week that a poison is a substance that can harm or kill living organisms. So, poisons are substances that can harm you or even be fatal. So, they can be found in many forms, including in drugs, in chemicals, gases, foods, and in animals, insects, etc. And there are some types of poisons, and they are caused from different things. There are some reactions to these poisons as well. All right, you can swallow these things by eating. You can inhaling these things. They can come in contact with your skin as well. And there are some symptoms that you would look out for once someone is poisoned. It is now 4:15 p.m. and time is swiftly running by. You are tuned in to Nature's Way here on Waves 96.3 FM. If you are just joining us, welcome. And I trust that you will stay with me for the next hour 45 minutes. So we have 2 hours for this program. So you can listen in and you can take your notes, and you can share your questions on our YouTube live chat, or you can send in your comments and information. If you want to share information, I will be happy to read them so that our other listeners can hear what you have to share. So remember to subscribe so you never miss a comment. Click on a chat message. You can display it on the screen, and I can read it out so that others can also hear what you have to share with us. Okay, so we're going to be continuing, and we're going to be looking at the black widow spider bite. And there is a spider, and this program is not just for us in Jamaica, because there's a wide array of listeners, and we may not have some of these things here in Jamaica that are so harmful to us, but it's all over. And you may visit a country where these things are, and you want to know how to treat with it. So the black widow spider, this spider bites, and if you are bitten by this spider, Some of the symptoms that and you would see within a short time, the victim feels agonizing pain throughout the body, especially in the abdomen, which may be rigid as a board, so it may be hard. Abdominal pain similar to that of appendicitis. That is what you're going to feel. You are going to experience cold sweats, difficulty in breathing, nausea, spastic muscle contractions, vomiting at times as well, localized tissue death, that's the tissue death, and sometimes delirium and convulsions occur. So you might feel delirious and so on. All right. This may cause you to be, when you're poisoned, um, some of the things that you may experience are drowsiness. Some persons may maybe get unconscious. You have difficulty breathing, or you may stop breathing for a while. And some persons may be very agitated and have uncontrollable restlessness. Some persons may even have seizures. So these are some of the things that occur when you get poisoned. If you are bitten by an insect, these are some of the things, and right away you are going to feel the pain. And this bite from a black widow spider, you will have excruciating pain or agonizing pain. Now, there are more than 29,000 known types of spiders. They are excellent at insect control, but two in the US, and most of these studies come out of the United States of America, are extremely dangerous. The tarantula is the world's largest spider. It lives as far north as south the southwestern US, but its bite is no more dangerous to a human than the sting of a bee or a wasp. Now, the black widow venom is more potent, drop for drop, than the poison of a pit viper, that's a rattlesnake or a copperhead or cottonmouth snake. Yet each spider bite injects only an extremely small amount of venom. 4 out of every 100 people bitten by a black widow have anaphylactic shock and even death. It is possible to develop tetanus as well from a spider bite. So, the description is the black widow is the most dangerous spider in the US. It has a tiny black body and a red or yellow hourglass patch on the underside of the main body segment. Only the female is dangerous to man. It weaves shapeless webs in dark corners. It may be found in the corners of barns, sheds, and other buildings near your home. It hides in its web when frightened, but it may bite if caught in clothing. Most common in the South, the black widow is in nearly every state in Canada. There is a brown widow and red widow in Florida, which are also poisonous. Deaths usually result from complications, not necessarily from the bite, but from complications from the bite. All right? And this is why we look at, briefly on the, the allergies that some of these um, bites can give. All right? Now, of course, there are natural remedies for these, for the black widow spider bites. You will want to consult your physician as well. But there are some things that you can do naturally to relieve, for relief. So the bite of a black widow should be treated like a snake bite, except that it is not necessary to give an antivenom or antivenin. Now, if there is swelling or pain after a spider bite, which in our symptoms we discovered that, keep calm and apply a constricting band 2 to 4 inches above the bite. And this I have to stress, above, not below the bite. Loosen the band for 15 seconds, every 15 seconds for 10 minutes. Do not let the extremity turn blue, because if you, that is why you are advised to loosen it every 15 seconds, for 15 seconds every 10 minutes. So you're going to loosen that band, that tie, for 15 seconds every 10 minutes. So timing is also important. Do not move the affected area and keep it below the heart level. A lot of times when we have injuries, what we do, we elevate, we do elevation. But in this case, you have to keep it below the heart level. The victim should lie down. You can pack ice around the wound, not on the wound, around the wound. All right. You can, if you have charcoal, you can drink the charcoal. If you have the capsules, what you can do is chew up and swallow 10 charcoal capsules with, and have this with water. You can crush more capsules, more of the tablets, and make a paste and place on the bite as a compress. Charcoal will powerfully draw out the poison if applied extremely fast. So the first thing you want to do, this is why if we are going on camping trips or going out of our homes and so on, it is good that we carry that little kit with us, with our charcoal, with our cayenne pepper, with our little echinacea or yarrow or something, to, in order to treat with whatever may happen to us. Because if you get a cut, you can use a cayenne. If you get a bite, you can use a charcoal, and you can use a yarrow and so on. You can make a paste with all this, and also turmeric. You can make a paste and you can put it on the affected area. So have that little kit with you at all times. All right. And remember that the charcoal, its base is very wide, so it can absorb, it's very absorbent. So it pulls the poisons and toxins from your body. The objective throughout what I just said a while ago is to slow the blood and reduce the spread of the poison. Drink as much yellow dock tea as possible, or take two capsules of the charcoal every hour till symptoms recede. Or you can drink the charcoal. I prefer drinking it because it works faster. Swallow echinacea as well. You can apply white oak bark poultices as well, slippery elm and plantain, and remember, and also comfrey. Now these are very good. Now remember, these are some of the things that I mentioned initially for poisons when we started this topic. So these are the things that we need to have on hand so that they can help to treat with poisons. Massive doses of vitamin C is also important. You can have it in powdered form, so you can mix it and drink it right away as well. And calcium is also good. What this does, it helps to relieve pain and abdominal cramping from the venom, and also prevent stomach upset from the, okay, so the calcium gluconate, this is what helps to prevent stomach upset from the massive amounts of vitamin C. So you need to also have this on hand, accompanying each dose of calcium with magnesium as well. And um, pantothenic acid is also good. This helps to augment vitamin C's detoxification effects because you want to go to the bathroom a lot when you take the vitamin C. Now, um, it is said that rattlesnake and black widow venom is similar and they are also treated similarly as well. All right, so my producer, that's Nebert, thank you, producer, is sharing with me that plantains refers to the plant in Jamaica called English plantain. Yes, thank you very, very much for that. Okay, so in everything that we do, we have to trust God. Trust Him with all your heart. He will carry you and your burdens. Find in Him the answers that you need. Job 5 and verse 20. And if you read the book of Job, you will see just that. You can find the answers in Him that you need. All right? Now we have just completed the black widow spider. And as we said, that can affect you so quickly in a very short time. So you need to act quickly. And charcoal is one of the best remedies for to act quickly in your bodies. The liquid form. So you need to mix it in some water and drink it. If you have the capsules, you need to swallow at least 10 of them with a lot of water. All right, so that it can work well for you. Now, the brown recluse spider bite, the brown recluse spider, this is the other one that we're going to be looking at. And the symptoms include you are going to see a bullseye appearance of a blister encircled by red and white rings. A few hours after being bitten, the skin around the bite becomes red and swollen. Eventually, most of this tissue dies, leaving a deep sore that may take months to heal. There are more than 29,000 known types of spiders, as I said earlier. They are excellent at insect control, yes, they do, but you have some that are extremely dangerous, and this is another one of them, the tarantula. This one is the world's largest spider, as I said, and it lives far north, southeastern in the US. All right. The bite can cause the flesh to decay. It can require extensive treatment over weeks or months. But death from a brown recluse is extremely rare. It is possible to develop tetanus as well from a spider bite. It is now 4:30 and we are traveling along. Now the brown recluse is a brownish poisonous spider about 3/8 inch long with a dark violin shaped mark on its upper back near to the head. It appears to hide in dark places in the house, like closets and drawers. It spins a, a sticky, irregular web with threads running in all directions. It can live for days without food or water, and it is found all over the US. So, if you are bitten by a brown recluse spider, you can, of course, swallow some charcoal, at least 10 charcoal tablets with water. You can also crush these tablets and make a paste and place it on the bite as a as a compress. All right, and the charcoal, as I said earlier, will draw out the poison if you apply it extremely fast. So the first thing you want to do is to make the paste, put it on the area, drink the charcoal, or you can swallow the tablets. And 10 tablets is recommended in this case. If there is swelling or pain after a spider bite, um, it is difficult if you are bitten by an insect, to keep calm, but it is advised that you try your best to keep calm, because if you when you are agitated and restless, the blood flow will be faster, and then this will push the poison to your heart. All right, and you don't want that. So you and apply a constricting band. This one is 2 to 4 inches above, and again not below, above the bite. You're going to loosen the band again for 15 seconds every 10 minutes. And wherever you are bitten, do not let that area become blue. All right. Do not move the affected area. Keep it below your heart level if possible. The victim should lie down, and you can put pack ice around the wound. The objective is to slow the blood and reduce spread of the poison. So drink as much yellow dock tea as possible, or take 2 capsules, and that's the charcoal capsules, uh, um, every hour till the symptoms recede. You can also swallow echinacea. You can also apply white oak bark poultices, slipper elm, plantain again, and comfrey. These are very good. And of course, you are going to need to maximize your intake of vitamin C and magnesium and pantothenic acid, which can help with the vitamin C's detoxifying effects. All right, so these are what you want to do if you are bitten by the black widow spider or the brown recluse spider. All right, so these are the what you would do. Now, trust him with all your heart. He will carry you and your burdens. Find in him the answers you need. The highest evidence of nobility in a Christian is self control. Purity of heart and loveliness of spirit are more precious than gold, both for time and for eternity, according to Psalm 34 and verse 8. The only way we can have control of our emotions is when we surrender our will to God. Now we're going to be looking at one of these things that I am definitely afraid of, and it's a snake. We're going to be looking at snake bites. Now, one or two tiny bite holes which cause intense pain. Frequently, there is nausea, vomiting, and unconsciousness. There are 2 types of poisonous serpents in North America. Now, the pit viper, which includes rattlesnakes, copperheads, and cottonmouths, also called water moccasins, has a deep, heat sensitive pit on each side of the head. So like 2 holes on the side of the head. Now, pit vipers lounge forward, bite, and immediately pull back as swiftly as that. Their venom contains a blood poison. The coral snake does not jump, and when it catches hold of the flesh, it must hold on and chew a while for the poison to sink in. Its venom is a nerve poison. So for the pit vipers, its venom contains a blood poison, and for the coral snake, its venom is a nerve poison. So you know what that means. You're going to be paralyzed. The danger from snakebite occurs when the poison reaches the heart, and secondarily, the effect of that poison in the blood and the nervous system. The action of the venom is rapid, regardless of the type of poisonous snake. Now, there is rapid swelling and inflammation. The greatest danger is if it is a young child or an old person. The bite is close to the heart. A large quantity of venom is injected, or immediate treatment is not given to suck out the or neutralize the poison. So if these are the greatest dangers, we are being told that if a child is bitten or an elderly person is bitten, right? If treatment is not immediately given, the poison may cause death. If not death, after the initial effects of pain and shock begin to wear off, extensive tissue damage begins. There is suppuration, gangrene, and hemorrhage. If this happens, recovery time is greatly slowed down. So, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Angela. Nice to have you on. Good afternoon. I hope that you are okay and everything is going well with you. Nice to have you. Most cases of snake bite occur between sunrise and sunset. Non poisonous snake bites are treated with antibiotic herbs or drugs in order to prevent infection. If you are not sure of the identity of the snake and you killed him, you might bring it back for identification at an emergency room. Wow. And I'm sure, I don't know who is going to stick around to do that. I don't know. But there are some natural remedies that we can use. And as I said, if you act quickly by just swallowing the charcoal capsules or drinking the charcoal, this can help to slow down the process. The poison will take of the poison spreading in your body. Now, for coral snakes, they are found only in the southernmost areas of the United States, as well as south of the border, and have brightly colored rings. There is a non poisonous snake which looks similar, but the colored rings are arranged differently. So you have to look at it and be careful. Remember, remember it this way. So you have red by black, friend of Jack, but black by yellow will kill a fellow. So you can use this little rhyme to remember the type of snake. So if you have the red by black, now this one is not poisonous. But if you have the black by yellow, now this one is poisonous. All right. So red by black, friend of Jack, but black by yellow, kill a fellow. All right. So some clay poultices can be used for our natural remedies. So this is the currently recommended procedure. And what you're going to do, you're going to keep calm first of all. You're going to make this, you're going to apply a thick wet clay poultice, or better, ground up activated charcoal powder mixed with the wet clay. Now, the charcoal is very, 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 very important to have. And as I said, if you are going out, you're going on a camping trip and anything like that, you need to take this with you just in case you may be bitten by an insect, not necessarily a snake. Because remember, whatever you're bitten by, the charcoal is a good remedy to have. All right. So immediately lay down for about 2 hours, and the poultice will absorb the venom at the wound site. So you're going to put it on the wound as a like a compress and keep it there for at least 2 hours, and it will pull the poison out. All right. So there are other things that you can do. You can have Make sure you have your massive doses of vitamin C, and vitamin C reduce it promotes diarrhea. So if diarrhea occurs or develops, what you need to do is to reduce the dosage if diarrhea develops. All right. Calcium gluconate helps to relieve pain and abdominal cramping from the venom. And it also prevents stomach upset from massive amounts of vitamin C, accompanying with dose of calcium and magnesium. All right, so you can use these to help. The person bitten should keep calm and work carefully. Excitement speeds up the blood flow to the heart, and this is what you don't want. Now, a lot of persons do these things, and some things that you do are not advisable. In most cases, the person does not die once you act quickly, but you need to pray, act, pray, and keep praying. All right? And prepare yourself for whatever happens. Because if you are at a place where medical help is not close by, you may find yourself panicking and all of that. The first thing is to keep calm. Remember that the natural remedies also work, and you need to have them with you. So use the charcoal and prayerfully do this, and God will be on your side. God will help you through it. Now, do not give liquor to the person thinking that this will help, because it simply does not. Right? Liquor is out of it. You know, a lot of persons going on trips and so on, they don't take medical supplies in their bags, they take liquor. Can you believe that persons actually do that? They take liquor with them, right? And persons get a cut, persons get a bite, and they tend to throw the liquor on it and drink it. This helps to speed up blood flow, so that the poison will get to your heart even quicker. So you don't need to do that. What you need to do is to drink the charcoal and make the poultice quickly and put on the wound. All right. And if you have a cut, you need to make just throw some cayenne pepper in it. You'll get a little stinging, but sooner it will. And you, if you look closely, you will see that it starts pulling the skin together. The healing process starts immediately. After that little sting, the healing process starts immediately. It's amazing. If you have a lot of bleeding, the cayenne pepper will stop the bleeding. All right, and it will um, you will actually see starts like it's closing the wound, so it's pulling the skin together, and it is amazing. So these are the things that you are to travel with, not the liquor, not the alcohol. All right, take charcoal from the campfire. If you make a campfire and that burning there, the charcoal, mix it with water and drink it. And you can do a half glass full of water with 1 teaspoon of charcoal and drink another one every 15 minutes until the danger is past, and you will feel better after a while. If able to do so, a couple of hours later, take a steam bath or something similar. Or what you need to do is to do something, maybe put on extra clothing, and you can probably light a fire, make a fire, and have on extra clothing and stay as close to the fire as you possibly can, so that you can sweat, and this will help to sweat out the poison from your body. All right, so there are some little things that we can do to do that. Okay, so my producer is sharing with me. Thank you, Angela. Yes, I'm well. Yes, yes, God is good. Clay and charcoal poultices work quickly as well. Yes. Right, and that, as I said, you mix the clay and the charcoal together and it works quickly. And make sure it's wet enough, just so the wet clay, but you don't want it too runny. All right. Alcohol complicates the problem by giving the body more work to do under stress. Exactly so. And you want to keep calm. You don't want to put the body under additional stress. Thank you for that, producer. All right. So as I said, try get hot enough where you can sweat, so you can help to sweat out the poison. And throughout all this time, you should eat no food. Do not apply ice or cold pack to the bitten area, for this will drive the poison toward the heart. Now, in this case, you do not put ice around the wound. All right. If after several hours the bite area is still swollen and painful, you know that you can put kerosene on a bit of cloth and you can apply it to the area. Keep wetting it, keep it wet for several hours, and this will help neutralize the poison. All right. Also an alternative. You can grind up raw onions and apply it to the area. Leave them there until there's an offensive odor, not the onions now. There will be another odor that you will notice. And what is this? It's You would remove it at that time, you would bathe the area, and you would apply some more raw onion to it, raw crushed onions, until the pain is gone. As long as there is still pain, once you start getting that offensive odor, you know that the poison is being drawn out. All right, so you're going to take that one away, wash off the area, and do a fresh batch and put on the area until it is no longer painful. So once it's no longer painful, you know that the poison is out. All right, and then you can continue to do your treatment. Rue, rue can expel poison as well, rue tea. So you can drink the tea and apply it to the wound as well. All right. Pouring alcohol on a bite is useless and may speed up the venom. So you don't want to use the alcohol. As I said, chew up the charcoal, chew and swallow the charcoal tablets. And why it is recommended for you to chew them is that it breaks it up quicker. Then when you drink the water, it moves it faster into your bloodstream. That is why I prefer the activated charcoal powder. You have that, you just mix it in the water and drink it. And then you drink some more water um, along with it. And you drink that maybe every 15 minutes and so on, and until you feel better. All right. Charcoal will help draw out the poison if applied extremely fast. So you can also do it topically and internally. So you drink it and you make a paste with it and put it on the wound. All right. Okay. So when you go hiking or camping, include a suction kit. You can include charcoal, a bottle of powdered vitamin C, and make sure you have, these days nobody leaves home without their cell phone, so you have your cell phone so you can make a call if needs be, especially if you are alone. Make sure if you are going hiking you stay on the trail, and if you are in a heavy snake country area, what you need to do, you can wear canvas protectors on your lower legs, and to help to protect your legs from bites. All right, they can be purchased at what they call surplus stores. So you can get those and use those as preventative measures. And make sure you have your hike pack. You put these things in your hike pack. No alcohol. Make sure you have your suction kit, charcoal, a bottle of powdered vitamin C, and a cell phone to make a call. Alcohol complicates the problem, yes, and gives you stress. Yes, I I mentioned that already. Yes, I did. Okay, so all right, so we're going to be looking at another bite from a jellyfish. All right. So my encouragement is when trials and tribulations come to you, know that everything will work out. Know that everything will work out well if through dedication and prayer you will keep close to God. All right. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the jellyfish sting. A strong stinging feeling in the legs or arms while swimming at an ocean beach. This may afterward be followed by headache, muscle cramps, coughing, shortness of breath, nausea, and vomiting. Okay, so my producer is sharing with me that grandma recipe for insect bite. Okay, so it's grated banana with kerosene. Yes, and as I mentioned kerosene earlier, but grandma would use the green banana, grated green banana with kerosene. Apply to area and light it, and when it is finished burning, the poison is usually out of the body. Yes, this is one of the old remedies that we our grandparents use, and it works. But some persons are afraid of the flame. Some persons are afraid of the flame. So, you know, but as I said, that is another remedy. That's an alternative remedy that you can use. And in the olden days, they used to use it, and it works. And even now, your grandparents or great grandparents will use those remedies as well, and they do work. You see, a lot of times well, let me rephrase, we grow up in a society now that the first thing you do is run to the doctor and you get an injection for everything, right? But what we want is not poisons to go in our body. We want poisons to come out of our bodies. And the natural things that we can use to pull poisons from our body, those are the things we have to use when we get poisoned. So if you add poison to poison, what is going to happen? All right, two negatives, right? So you have to make sure that only in math, I think two negatives make a positive. Only in mathematics that happens. That doesn't happen in real life. Those guys would say that don't happen in real life. All right. So you want to make sure you want to pull poisons from your body, and this is the reason persons detoxify. Some persons do it so often that they break down their immune system. But detoxifying your body is important, but how you do it and what you use to do it is also important. Okay? So let us continue with the jellyfish sting. So as I said, you will feel a strong stinging feeling on the legs or arms while swimming at an ocean beach. This may afterward be followed by headache, muscle cramps, coughing, shortness of breath, nausea, and vomiting. Now, jellyfish and Portuguese men of war are found in warmer marine waters. The eastern beaches of Florida are an example, tropical beaches as well. Their long tentacles tentacles contain stinging cells which, touching you, pierce the skin and release poison. Even severed tentacles can poison just as intensively, as the poison is still in it and it is somewhat alive, is still alive. All right. So if this happens to you, what you're going to see in what you're going to do for the natural remedies is immediately rinse the wound, and you can use this with salt water because you're at the beach already. Usually this bite happens in the water. So rinse the wound with salt water. Do not use fresh water. Why? Because it activates any stinging cells which have not already burst. For the same reason, do not rub the skin. The first thing, the first reaction you are going to do is to grab the area and you are going to rub it. Please, this is harmful. This is what you don't want to do. All right? So, in cases of emergencies like these, we have to keep level-headed, keep calm, and remember the things that we ought not to do. All right, so remember that we are not going to grab up the area and rub it. All right, because what you're going to do, you're going to release the poison even more, because there might be tentacles in there that don't burst as yet, and you're going to burst them. What you want to do is to wash the wound with salt water, not fresh water. All right? What the fresh water does, it activates any stinging cells which have not already burst, and you don't want this. So for the same reason, you do not rub the skin. Do not rub the area. So neutralize the area as soon as possible by splashing on one of the following. Now, in this case, in this case, you can use alcohol. So neutralize the area as soon as possible. You can splash on um, and do it again as needed. Use rubbing or ethyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, not the one that you drink, not the liquor. Alcohol, vinegar, ammonia, or you can use these to put on the area. Now, take a bottle of vinegar with you to on a beach trip. This is important. So in your pack, you are going to need to have also a little bottle of vinegar, especially when you're going to the beach, because this can help to neutralize the area, the poison. All right, so you're going to put a little, not the, use rubbing alcohol, not the liquor that you drink, rubbing alcohol, some vinegar, and ammonia. All right, so you can travel with the alcohol and the vinegar. You may not necessarily have the ammonia with you, but you can travel in your pack with the alcohol and the vinegar. Now, if any tentacles remain on your skin, apply a paste of sand and seawater. Then wrap your hand in a towel and wipe them off, or scrape them off with a knife, or if you have a card or something like that, something with an edge, you use that to scrape it off. All right. Apply generous amounts of aloe vera gel and plantain tincture to the affected area. So here we go again, the English plantain. That's the one we're talking about here in Jamaica. And you can use that as a tincture, put it on the area, and you can also use that with aloe vera gel to put on the area. And you keep doing this until the area is well. Okay, it is now a minute after 5 o'clock and we are traveling along. Okay, my word of encouragement is that God is preparing the hearts of those who dedicate their lives to Him. Soon, at His coming, they will go to heaven forever to be with Him. This is something each one of us can have if we surrender our lives to Him. God, allow God to prepare our hearts so that when He comes, He can take us home with Him forever. Now, there is another, that was the jellyfish sting. Now, coral, stingray, and sea urchin bites. Now, these are what we're going to be looking at, these three. And the symptoms include painful abrasions and wounds while swimming, scuba diving, or even snorkeling. So these bites happen at the beach, all right, during swimming. Coral polyps have the same toxic cells as jellyfish. The hard coral can cause painful abrasions, and the polyps can discharge small poisonous barbs. Stingrays have barbed toxic toxic spines at the base of their long tails. Sea urchins have spines which can inject poison. All of them can cause pain and infection. And that's what these things do when they come in contact with you. They normally bite you, sting you. All right. The natural remedies include, one of the caution is that you do not rub but flush the wound. So, as with the jellyfish sting, you do not rub the wound but you flush it out with the salt water. Right there. First thing you do, flush it out. Then, to neutralize more of the poison, splash the wound with alcohol, rubbing alcohol, the vinegar, ammonia, alum, and dissolved in, you can dissolve. There is another thing that they say you can use, and it is meat tenderizer. I don't really know what that is, but it is something that you dissolve in water. What you dissolve it in the salt water and you can use it. I don't know if you're going to be having the meat tenderizer with you, but the alcohol and the vinegar would suffice. So, with tweezers or fingers covered with a cloth, because you don't want them to get in the fingers now, carefully remove coral fragments or small spines. Then, to neutralize more of the toxin, immerse the wounded area in hot water for 30 minutes or more, as hot as you can bear it. And if medical assistance is not likely within half an hour, you can apply a tourniquet between the wound and the heart. All right. So this is what you can do um, for this bite type of bite. If you are bitten by coral, if you have a coral sting, stingray, and sea urchin bite. All right, so that is what you can do for that. All right, so I just want to get some additional information for you. I just want to get some information for you. So, as it says, you need to flush the wound. You need to splash the wound with alcohol, vinegar, ammonia, and alum, and you are going to do that. Now, the tourniquet is this is a device for stopping the flow of blood through a vein or artery, typically by compressing a limb with a cord or tight bandage. So it's something like the band that you're going to do. So you're going to compress it. So you're going to pull it. You can, you know, tie it and as tight as you can. But what you're going to do is when you do it, you are going to pull it for about 15 seconds at every 10 minutes because still you don't want the area to become blue. All right, so you can do that as well, and that will help. Now, there is a science of Christianity to be mastered, a science as much deeper, broader, higher than any human science, as the heavens are brighter than are higher, than the earth. The mind is to be disciplined, educated, trained, for we are to do service for God in ways that are not in harmony with inborn inclinations. We were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. Hereditary and cultivated tendencies to evil must be overcome. Often, the education and training of a lifetime must be discarded that one may become a learner in the school of Christ. So we have to unlearn in order to learn. Our hearts must be educated to become steadfast in God. We are to form habits of thought that will enable us to resist temptation. We must learn to look upward. The principles of the Word of God, principles are as high as heaven, and that compass eternity. We are to understand in their bearing upon our daily life. Every act, every word, every thought is to be in accord with the principles, with those principles that God has given to us. All must be brought into harmony with and subject to Christ. This can only be accomplished when we surrender our all to Him, our will to His. All right? So, this science is the science that we need to learn. The science of Christianity. And this is the science that we must endeavor to master, to be like Jesus, to be steadfast in God. Okay? So, we're still looking at poisons, and we're going to be looking at another area of poisons, which is transmitted diseases. And these are also poisons, classified as poisons to our bodies. And the first one we're going to be looking at is typhus. Now, typhus is one of the transmitted diseases that we, as I said, we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at a few more. Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Lyme disease, and so on. And we're going to be looking at these and spending a little time with these because these things are important for us to know and understand. Because a lot of times things happen to us, we don't really know why or what they are, but this is why we are here at Nature's Way. Now, typhus is an infectious disease caused by rickettsia, characterized as a purple rash. You get headaches and fever and so on with this. All right, so this is an infectious disease caused by rickettsia, characterized by a purple rash rather. Now, for the typhus, the symptoms you are going to see sudden onset of chills, high fever, prostration, and general pains. The patient is excited, mentally alert, and has a flushed face and bloodshot eyes. Delirium frequently occurs early. Small pink spots on the neck, chest, abdomen, and limbs appear about the fifth day of the infection. They change from pink to red and then to purple, and finally they turn brownish. So they have they're in a transition now. So they are from pink to red to purple, and then they turn brownish. Now, heavy bronchitis with cough and sputum, this is what you're going to experience as well. Pulse is rapid, but blood pressure is low. In its early stage, typhus is like Rocky Mountain spotted fever, which we'll look at in a little while, but the home treatment for both is essentially the same. So you can treat these at home. Now there are three main types of typhus fevers, and it's a fever. So you have louse fever, flea and tick fever, and mite fever. And of course, you develop this disease from these insect bites. But they are all treated about the same and are caused by similar bacteria carried by lice and fleas and ticks and mites. And we looked at those bites last week from fleas and ticks and mites and lice as well. All right. So typhus caused by rickettsia occurs where people are crowded together under unsanitary conditions. Rocky Mountain spotted fever and Lyme disease are more easily acquired by anyone who goes out into the woods. And we're going to be looking at those in a short while as well. So, of course, there are home remedies and there are natural remedies. So, typhus is a tropical disease. It rarely occurs in the northern climates. If one is available, if you need to call a physician if you experience any of these things. All right. If you are at a location where none is available, then you can do these treatments. So typhus responds to colloidal silver, echinacea, golden seal, garlic, and water, which is extensively used inside and outside of the body. So you can do it topically and internally. So what you're going to do is make sure you eat no food for the few days that you are experiencing this. It is best to call a physician if one is available. All right, so that they can know how to treat with it. But I'm saying these natural remedies initially can be used. And if you continue to use these things prayerfully, you can treat with this condition and recover from it. All right? The end of all things it is at hand. And we see this evident. This is evident in our daily lives that we see the end of all things is at hand. Oh, that we could see, as we should, the necessity of seeking the Lord with all the heart. Then we would find him. May God teach each one of us to pray more fervently. Matthew 11 and verse 29. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. So, Psalm 92, verses 1 to 2. This is telling us that we need to give thanks to the Lord every morning that we wake up. Throughout the day, we need to give him thanks. And we also need to give him thanks for his faithfulness towards us at the end of the day, because he has kept us throughout the day. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Yea, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living God. Romans 9 and verse 26. What encouraging promises are these? You must learn in the school of Christ precious lessons of patience. Do not become discouraged, but keep at the work in all humility. It will drive you to Jesus. It will lead you to study the pattern. You want to work as Jesus worked. Be like Jesus all day long, in the home and in the throng. So we have to work like Jesus worked. We have to do the things that he did. He has left us an example, and we ought to follow his example. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praises unto thy name. Now we're going to be looking at the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. The symptoms begin 7 to 12 days after being bitten. Headaches, chills, weakness, fever, muscle pain, and dry cough occurs. There is a skin rash on the wrists, ankles, palms, soles of the feet, and forearms. This then spreads to the neck, face, axilla, buttocks, and trunk. Next comes liver enlargement and pneumatitis. If untreated, circulatory failure brings death. So, this we cannot ignore. We cannot ignore and we have to treat with it immediately. When symptoms first appear, do not wait for a positive blood test identification before instituting treatment. Death may occur as soon as 4 to 10 days after appearance of symptoms, so you need to contact a physician. Rocky Mountain spotted fever is caused by a similar bacteria, Rickettsia, that causes typhus, but it is transmitted solely by a tick. Of the reported cases, 90% occur along the eastern seaboard and 10% in the Rocky Mountains. And this is why it is given this name, Rocky Mountain spotted fever. But it can be contracted anywhere um, in between those two regions. May through October is when people who are out in the woods are especially bitten by these ticks. You can also get it from your dog, which has been roaming the woods and picking up ticks as though he were a vacuum cleaner. So that is why your dog, you have to be careful. They are make sure that they are clean before they get into your homes and all of that. All right, or before they come too close to you. Okay, so make sure that you um, use the colloidal silver, echinacea, golden seal, and garlic. Now these are used to aid in recovery. All right. If a tick is biting you, pull it off slowly so as not to leave any part behind. Then rub on a little alcohol, vinegar, or lemon. And I'm not talking about the liquor now, I'm talking about the rubbing alcohol. All right. So before going on a walk in the woods or in the fields, you can mix 50-50 powdered sulfur and talcum powder, dusting it on your legs and around your waist. And all the time, I suggest putting a little turpentine around your ankles and one drop on your tongue to discourage them. This is like a repellent. All right. Avoid sleeping where cattle graze or near your dog. Please avoid that. I know a lot of persons in other countries and in Jamaica too. They love their animals, they love their dogs, and they love to their dogs are where they are in their bed and in the couch and all of that. But if the dogs are picking up these ticks, they can harm you. All right? And this can also be fatal. So you want to desist from doing that. Okay? We can safely trust in God to help us through the trials and disappointments of life. Go to Him and find in Him the help you so much need. He will give that which is best. He loves us with an everlasting love. So, we're going to be looking at Lyme disease now. And Lyme disease is kind of a lengthy one, but we're going to be running through. All right. So, between 2 and 32 days after a bite, symptoms appear. Symptoms include fatigue, flu like symptoms, stiff neck, backache, headache, nausea, and vomiting. Ultimately, enlargement of the lymph nodes and spleen may occur, along with irregular heart rhythm, arthritis, and brain damage. Some of these symptoms slowly pass away over 2 to 3 years, but sometimes symptoms reoccur later without having been bitten again because it's in your system. Because this disease is now so prominent and because it can occur so mysteriously, there are more detailed symptoms on its usual 3 stages, which not everyone experiences, by the way. So, a small raised bumps and or a rash appear on the entire body for 1 to 2 days or several weeks, and then they fade. Fever, chills, nausea, and vomiting may also occur. 2 weeks or months later, facial paralysis may occur. Frequently, enlargement of the spleen and lymph glands occur and or severe headaches. Enlargement of the heart muscle and abnormal heart rhythm also may occur. 3. This can develop into backache, stiff neck, joint pains in the knees, swelling and pain in other joints, and even degenerative muscle and joint disease. About 70% of those who remain untreated later develop problems in the joints and in the central nervous system. Physicians especially look for the following symptoms before treating with antibiotics: a small red bump at the site of the tick bite, a bullseye rash surrounding that tick bite, and flu like symptoms such as fatigue, chills, and joint pain. If treatment is postponed until more advanced symptoms develop, heart, brain, or joint problems, drug medications do not work as well. And drug medications do not work. They will suppress the problem and cause other side effects. That bullseye spot caused by the tick bite is the best single early warning that you have been infected with Lyme disease. Within a day, it usually enlarges to a rash around tick bite that is about 3 inches in diameter. But in about 10% of the cases, no rash appears. To complicate the situation, the tick may not only have transmitted Bacterium, Borrelia, Burgdorferi, that's the cause of the Lyme disease, to you, but at the same time, it may have infected you with um, with something that is called Ehrlichio- Ehrlichiosis, and we are going to be looking at that in a short while as well. Now, Lyme disease is the most common tick-borne illness in America. It was first discovered in Old Lyme, Connecticut in 1975. A little history on the Lyme disease. It most frequently occurs where the white-tailed deer is most abundant, which is the northeastern states. But the disease has spread. 8 states report 90% of cases: Connecticut, Massachusetts, California, Minnesota, New York, Rhode Island, Wisconsin, and New Jersey. Yet, It has occurred in every state except Alaska, Arizona, Hawaii, Montana, and Nebraska. Lyme disease is actually a very dangerous disease. Therefore, special attention is given to it. Now, the bite of a tiny tick is primarily carried by deer, but it is also carried in the eastern states by white-footed field mice and in the west by lizards and jackrabbits. In California, it is also transmitted by the black-legged tick carried by wood rats. Unfortunately, deer ticks also infest dogs and get on cats. For centuries, foxes and bobcats killed the mice carrying Lyme disease, but now the country is overrun with the mice and the ticks they carry, which are now on deer and other animals as well. Researchers found that because there are less predators, the ticks are 7 times as prevalent in 1 to 2 acre lots than on 10 to 15 acre lots. Both deer ticks and black-legged ticks are very, very tiny, and an adult is less than 1/10 of an inch, and in the nymph is a pinhead in size. So the nymph is a pinhead in size. They are much smaller than a dog tick. Dogs and cats can collect these special ticks out in the woods and bring them into your homes. Tick bites are generally painless and unnoticed, so the symptoms may not at first or later be correctly diagnosed. Yet, in advanced stages, when correct diagnosis finally occurs, the situation may have been critical. So, the symptoms are similar to those of multiple sclerosis. A test now exists which can detect the bacteria which causes Lyme disease. Antibodies are present from 3 days to 3 weeks after infection. The majority of cases occur in the summer and in the fall. After a tick bites, it waits several hours before it begins to feed on the host's blood. And once it does, it feasts for 3 to 4 days. The longer the tick remains attached, the greater the risk of Lyme disease. If you remove the tick within 30 minutes after he starts biting, you are usually safe. But you can be sure when the 30 minutes begin. Oh, this is the question. Can you be sure when the 30 minutes begin? You don't know. Lyme disease is treatable and almost always curable if correctly diagnosed in the early stages. But because the bites are usually painless and undetected, the incubation period so long and the symptoms so varied, the problem may go unrecognized for weeks or for months. If you develop a bullseye type of rash anywhere on your body, see your healthcare provider right away. Significantly, many people have been bitten by the deer tick and have not gotten sick. In some Lyme endemic parts of the US, 10% of the people have antibodies to the disease, showing they were earlier bitten but did not become ill. In other parts of America, about 1 to 2% have already been bitten and not gotten sick. In 1995, AMA survey revealed that only about half of those diagnosed with Lyme disease actually had it. The rest had arthritic or physical problems from other causes. If you walk in fields or woods at all, purchase 2 pairs of flat-edged tweezers, one for home and one to carry with you, because you may just pick up a tick and you need to remove it. And remember, removing a tick, you need to do it gently. Okay. Good evening, Sherbian. Nice to have you. Nice to see you. Okay, so for the natural remedies, and first of all, I want to share with you how you remove a tick. The longer the tick is on you, the greater the risk of infection. So, here is a safe way to remove it. A drop of oil or alcohol may be applied to partially immobilize the tick, but do not use the wrong methods to get him out. Put a hot match close to him to get him to back out or suffocate. So you can get him to back out, or you can suffocate it with petroleum jelly or nail polish. Any of these will cause more bacteria to enter your body. Instead, quickly remove him. So you want to quickly remove him when you apply these things. So remove the tick with tweezers. Keep fine pointed tweezers in the home and in your backpack when you go to camp or to hike. If you find a tick embedded in the skin, carefully place the tweezers straight down over the flat side of the tick, so the tweezers are over its top and bottom. The tweezer points should close on the tick's head. All right, so you want it to close on the tick's head, right next to the skin, immediately, as close to the skin as possible, where it is embedded. With a slight rocking motion, slowly and steadily pull the tick out of the skin. So you're going to gently rock it and pull it out. You're not going to just squeeze it and pull it out. All right, so you may leave something in there. Notice that you close the tweezers on his head, not its rear body. Do not twist. You want the entire tick out, so you don't want to leave anything in without leaving part of it in the skin or injecting bacteria from its broken body into the skin. You may pour rubbing alcohol on the tick before pulling him out. Do not touch the tick with your hands. Do not apply kerosene, turpentine, or petroleum jelly. If you do not have tweezers, use your fingers covered with a tissue. Then thoroughly wash them when you are through. Any of its fluids could cause an infection. If you squeeze, or you can use a glove, if you squeeze or twist the tick, its inside will get on you. You don't want to squash him out, all right? You want to make sure that you pull the whole thing out, okay? It is important to remove the whole tick. If mouth parts remain in your skin, disinfect them with alcohol and consult your physician. So you need to pull out everything. So after removing the tick, wash your hands and the bite area with soap and water. Apply rubbing alcohol or hydrogen peroxide to the bite area. Then apply a small bandage if needed. 2 or 3 times a day, disinfect the bite area with tea tree oil, calendula, the calendula extract, St. John's wort extract, or echinacea or golden seal extract. Save the tick in a jar, labeled, labeled with the date, location, and where the tick bit you on your body. Place a damp towel in the jar. That will keep him fresh for up to 6 weeks. Why would I want to keep the tick though? Why would I want to keep the tick? So you are going to make sure that you watch for symptoms over the next 3 weeks, especially look to see if the bullseye red rash appears within a day or so. All right. Does look to see if stiffening in one or more joints appear, most often in the knee or in the ankle. Look to see if these occur later. All right. And most of these diseases too will give you fever. So make sure you pay attention and look to see if these things are happening. All right, put suspicious clothing in a dryer for 30 minutes or in some hot water and to get rid of any other tick that may be in your clothing. Make sure you take a hot bath so that you can get rid of these. Now, the hot baths are helpful because the heat will help to relieve the pain, and these are helpful as well to get rid of any other tick that is there. All right, so make sure that when you go, a lot of persons go on these they have their summer homes in the woods and all of that, and they go in these areas, and sometimes things like these happen to them. They have their dogs all over the woods and so on, and these things happen. So you want to make sure you take some preventative measures. All right, make sure that your lawn is cut short and low. Avoid going in the woods. Make sure you, when if you have to, make sure you wear long clothing and canvas clothing. Make sure you also do a careful body inspection when you get back. Look out for dark spots on your skins because remember the tick might be there and feeding on you and you don't even feel it. You will not feel it. So please make sure you do an inspection. All right. Um, your diet as well is important. So if you have a high fat sugar diet, this can also, I think these things are attracted to persons with high sugar content. All right, so please, herbs can be useful in preventing infections, and these herbs include echinacea, golden seal, garlic and burdock, and also make sure you can rub some lemon juice or lime juice with the to disinfect the part of the body that that is affected. Applying aloe vera aids in the healing process as well. Make sure vitamins A and C, these protect against infection. B complex vitamins help keep the blood clean, and eat lots of greens. All right, make sure you eat lots of greens. If through surrender and prayer you are in Christ, as the trials come, the power of God will come with them. You will receive exactly that which is best at this time. Isaiah 63 and verse 9. God is our refuge and our strength, a very present help in time of need. Now we're going to look at another, maybe a couple more. Um, we still have time to go. So we're going to be looking at um, ehrlichiosis, ehrlichiosis, right? So ehrlichiosis, that's the next one we're going to be looking at. And the symptoms for ehrlichiosis are symptoms usually appear 7 to 10 days after the tick bites, and this is also from a tick bite. Symptoms include severe headache, chills, joint pains, and fever. Sometimes there is nausea and vomiting as well, occasionally, a spotted red rash appears. Rarely, serious complications develop, causing anemia and damage to the liver, kidneys, and lungs, and the nervous system. And this is rarely. If left untreated, these things can develop. This is another disease caused by um, Echinacea bacteria. This can be caused by a tick bite as well. Single tick can transmit two or more different disease bacteria. So you can come down with two or more tick-borne diseases at the same time simultaneously. So far, most cases are occurring in southern, central, and Atlantic coast states of the US. Walking or camping in wooded areas during the summer and early fall should be avoided. The disease can be difficult to diagnose from the symptoms, especially if you have Lyme disease at the same time. And remember, the Lyme disease is not so easily detected, you can be misdiagnosed. So you want to make sure that you protect yourself, right, from these diseases. Prompt treatment can relieve the symptoms within 24 to 48 hours. Um, and you can use these treatments, as I said, the Echinacea golden seal, you can use these treatments to treat with this situation. Make sure you have enough vitamin A and C, and these protect against infections. Now, ehrlichiosis is an infection with or a disease caused by tick-borne bacteria. So it's a type of bacterial infection spread through tick bites, right? So if untreated, life-threatening complications can occur, such as kidney, renal, and or respiratory failure. So we don't want to leave these things untreated. We want to treat them. When you feel you're coming down with something, sometimes we don't really know what it is because some of these symptoms are so subtle and they are close to other symptoms for other diseases and infections, bacterial infections. So my best bet, sometimes I don't feel so 100 as we say, you just drink some charcoal and you do that for about 3 mornings straight. And whatever bacteria, whatever toxin is in our bodies, it will get rid of it. So sometimes you don't really know exactly what is happening. And as I said, it is important for you to trace your steps, know you have been to this place and these are the things that possibly can happen, so you can do your process of elimination, and you can help to keep to prevent you from getting these diseases. All right, so the other one we're going to be looking at is leishmaniasis. All right, so it is leishmaniasis. So leishmaniasis is also, this is a group of disease that is caused by protozoan parasites from more than at least 20 leishmania species. All right, so leishmania species, not spices, species. So this is also a disease that for these from these parasites, tick and all these things can bite you, and you can have, tick can give you some serious infections and diseases. So it is best for us to keep ourselves away from these areas that they are found. Now, the symptoms of leishmaniasis is the bite of a small sandfly can also cause all these little leishmania species, which can be difficult to recognize in an internal infection which has developed. If only the skin is infected, 2 to 8 weeks after being bitten, a swelling appears where the fly bit. The swelling becomes an open sore, usually with pus. That means you have a serious infection, when it becomes pussy. Sores can heal by themselves, but they may take several weeks to 2 years. Meanwhile, the sores can easily become infected by bacteria. And once there is a open sore, you want to treat with it, because once it is open, it is more susceptible to infection, bacterial infection. So this is a disease which travelers to the northeast India and Asia can contract. It is occasionally found in southern Mexico, Central America, and South America. The infection is carried from person to person by a small sandfly which infects a person with its bites. Some forms of the disease cause internal infection called visceral leishmaniasis, Kala azar, or dum-dum fever. Now, these are the names that are given to them. Leishmaniasis, this is visceral leishmaniasis, or Kala azar, or dum-dum fever. Now, these infections are very difficult to recognize, and the usual medical treatment is complicated. Other forms of the disease primarily affect the skin. These are known as cutaneous leishmaniasis, tropical sore, delhi boil, espundia, forest yaws, Utah, or chilera ulcer. These skin sores are easier to treat. The names sound that they are not so easy to treat, but the research says that they are easier to treat. Now, what you need to do is to clean the skin sore with cool water, which has been boiled. So you boil the water and you let it cool. Apply a hot, moist cloth to the sore for 10 to 15 minutes. The cloth should not be so hot that it burns the skin. So it is warm then, or hot but not hot enough to burn the skin. This treatment often brings a complete elimination of the skin disease. If the sore becomes red and painful, it is becoming infected. So you need to apply golden seal, echinacea, or another antibiotic herb. And these are the natural remedies that you would need to apply, right, to this, for this leishmaniasis disease. Now, this disease is from the bite of a sandfly. And look at what these things can cause. Look at what these things can cause. Now, these diseases can develop into, you know, allergies. When you are bitten by insects, some persons develop an allergy, they get skin rashes, they get, other stuff, and they get anxiety attacks, and then they develop fatigue and restlessness, vomiting, nausea, and fever. Some persons get what we call a panic attack, and then when you get a panic attack, other things happen to you. So, as we have been reminded or warned against being anxious, so we need to calm ourselves when these things happen, so we can better treat with the problem. All right. So this is what we need to do. Now, God has given us his words, and our duty here is to be obedient to his words. He has given us a diet. He first of all he created us. He didn't leave us without food. He gave us a diet, and he told us what the things that we are to eat. And he said if the herbs are for the healing of the nation. And if you recognize that for each diseases that we talk about, each ailment that we talk about on Nature's Way, we give you the natural remedies. There are so many of them out there, and a lot of them work. You may hear this, most of the same names we reoccurring, and that is because the properties of these herbs are so potent that they can treat with almost every disease that we may encounter out there. But the healing is in the herb that is put there by the healer. Our healer is God, and he is the one who has given us these remedies. And what we need to do is to use his remedies, because it is he that had made us, and not we ourselves. So why not be obedient to our creator or maker, the manufacturer of the vehicle? We follow the manufacturer and we say we will not put oil in the tank where the gas should go, and we would not put water in the area that the oil should go, right? We follow that to a T. Why won't we follow the instructions that God has given to us? Obedience to his word is very, very important. And the results of obedience, in we can look that God has given us this scripture in Deuteronomy 6. And it says in this scripture, we are taught that obedience to God's requirements bring the obedient under the laws that control the physical being. Those who would preserve themselves in health must bring into subjection all appetites and passions. They must not indulge lustful passion in intemperate appetite, for they are to remain under control to God, and their physical, mental, and moral powers are to be so wisely employed that the bodily mechanism will remain in good working order. Health, life, and happiness are the result of obedience to physical laws governing our bodies, and this law, the eight laws of health. If our will and way are in accordance with God's will and way, if we do the pleasure of our Creator, He will keep the human organism in good condition and restore the moral, mental, and physical powers in order that He may work through us to His glory. Constantly, His restoring power is manifested in our bodies. If we cooperate with Him in this work, health and happiness, peace and usefulness are the sure results. If we surrender our wills to God, He, we, if we surrender our wills to God's will, He will work through us. He will restore, He will keep the human organism in good condition and restore the moral, mental, and physical powers in order that He may work through us to His glory. Constantly, His restoring power is manifested in our bodies. If we cooperate with Him in this work, health and happiness, peace and usefulness are the sure results. We need to surrender our lives to Him. We need to humble ourselves before Him. If Peter Had Peter walked humbly with God, hiding himself in Christ, had he earnestly looked for divine help, had he been less self confident, had he received the Lord's instruction and practiced it, he would have been watching unto prayer. Had he closely examined himself, the Lord would have given him divine help, and there would have been no need for Satan's sifting. There is no power in the whole satanic force that can disable the soul that trusts in simple confidence in the wisdom that comes from God. All wisdom comes from God. He knows us better than we know ourselves. He is the one who made our bodies, and He knows how our bodies operate better than we know ourselves, even better than the physician. They had to go to school to learn about it, and they still don't know everything. But our all knowing God has given us the instructions. The result of obedience is peace and usefulness, health, and happiness. Let us surrender our wills to His so that He can help us. He can deliver us from all the diseases and the sicknesses that will come upon us. This is all the time we have here on Nature's Way this afternoon. I pray that you'll be obedient to the Word of God. Surrender your wills to His and let Him control our lives. He is coming soon. He is coming back. His coming is imminent. Let us prepare ourselves to meet our Lord when He comes. Our Father, thank you for the instructions that you have given to us. We want to thank you for your love and your tender mercies towards us. Thank you that you have given us the information that we can use to be healthy people. Help us, dear Lord, because we are weak. Give us strength so we may surrender our wills to yours, so that you may take full control of our appetites and our passions. Help us, dear Lord, to look to you, the author and finisher of our faith, and help us to experience that wonderful peace and usefulness and health and happiness that you offer to us. Thank you for all you do on our behalf. Let your will be done in our lives. In Jesus' name I pray and say thanks. Amen. It's goodbye from Nature's Way. Until next Sunday, please join us here on Waves 96.3 FM. Have a healthful week.
I am the God that healeth thee. I am the Lord, your healer. And I send